Royal Secrets Review: 5 Facts about Ortega of Inditex's visit to the Spanish royal family. Leonor speaks up. They said the Spanish royal family has no room for surprises anymore. Happening
until
live
one
now,
man,
the
a
Ortega
billionaire
family
born
from
from
dinner
humble
with the
beginnings,
Spanish
walked
royal
through the
family,
palace
King
doors.
Felipe,
Princess
the world saw
Leonor.
a dinner.
They
But
say
those who
royal
listened
dinners are
closely
formal,
heard a shift in
predictable,
power. Because when
but
Amancio
tonight,
Ortega,
something
the quiet
feels
mind
different.
behind Inditex,
The Ortega
sat
family,
across from
ordinary
Princess
by
Leonor
name,
and King
extraordinary
Felipe
by
the
circumstance,
something
have
unspoken
just stepped
happened
into
that
the
no
marble
photograph
glow of
could
Zarzuela
capture.
Palace.
The future
And
queen
no one
didn't
expected
just
them
attend.
to be there.
She spoke,
Not
and
even
her
the
words
king
may
himself.
have changed everything.
The
The chandeliers
chandeliers
hum
hum
above
above
polished
polished
silver.
silver.
Servants
Now,
move silently.
let's uncover
the
the
scent
5
of roasted
facts they
lamb,
never wanted you to
rosemary,
piece together.
and quiet tension fills
Fact
the air.
1.
The uninvited
King
guest
Felipe
who is
sits
always
at the head
expected.
of the long oak table,
No official
his posture
announcement,
regal but his
no
eyes
press
observant.
advisory. Yet,
Beside
the moment
him,
Ortega's
Queen
car rolled
Letizia,
past
calm,
the palace
elegant,
gates, cameras
every
flickered
movement
like
controlled.
lightning. And
It
just
wasn't
across
supposed
from
to be
her,
a spectacle,
Princess Leonor,
just a dinner.
Spain's
But
future
royal
queen.
insiders
Her
say
face
it was
half
weeks
lit,
in the
half
making,
lost in
choreographed
thought.
to
The
perfection.
cameras outside can't
Why?
see what's
Because this
unfolding
wasn't
inside
about
these
business,
walls.
it
The
was about
moment the
succession.
Ortega family
The
entered,
king has long
every
sought
heart
to
beat quietly
change
align
rhythm.
Leonor's
Why
generation
Why
with
now?
Spain's
It
economic
started
heart,
with a quiet
and no one
invitation.
symbolizes that
A letter,
balance of modesty
sealed with
and
the
power
royal
more than
crest,
Ortega,
delivered without
He
explanation.
represents everything
The
Leonor is
Ortegas,
expected
an
to
influential
embody,
business
restraint
family from
legacy,
Asturias,
and a
known
quiet
for their
command.
philanthropy.
When
not their
Leonor stood to
politics,
greet
we're
him,
told only
observers
this:
noted
dinner
her
at
gesture,
Zarzuela,
a subtle nod,
formal
eyes
attire,
down, but confident. It was the kind of moment that signals growth, a young princess learning the language of influence. Behind her, Queen Letizia watched closely, expression unreadable. And here's the part almost no one noticed. Ortega brought a small gift, an old black and white photograph of A Coruña in the 1970s, where his first factory stood. On the back, a handwritten note: "Where simplicity begins, greatness follows." That message, some say, was not meant for the king, but for Leonor herself. But what did she say in return? Fact 2. Leonor's first unscripted words at a royal dinner. Royal dinners are rehearsed down to the syllable. Every comment, every toast, pre-approved. Yet, according to those seated nearby, Leonor broke from protocol that night. When Ortega praised her for her military training, she replied, not with a polite thank you, but with something startling. Spain needs those who build quietly, not those who speak loudly. The room fell silent. It was brief, measured, but powerful. Those who understand the tension between monarchy and business knew what it meant. A young royal declaring she would not inherit a crown of symbols but of substance. King Felipe smiled faintly. Ortega leaned back, his eyes fixed on her, almost studying her. And Letizia, she raised her glass. That moment, small as it was, revealed the shift the palace has been preparing for years, Leonor stepping out of shadow and into voice. But how did a businessman like Ortega earn such intimacy with Spain's most guarded family? Fact 3. The debt of gratitude that the royal family never discusses. To understand this dinner, you must go back to the financial winter of 2008. Spain's economy trembled, unemployment soared, and confidence in the monarchy fell with it. Quietly, without any press release, Ortega's foundations helped sustain royal patronages that might have otherwise shuttered. Hospitals, scholarships, restoration projects, funded discreetly. The king has never publicly acknowledged it, but historians note subtle signs of appreciation: royal visits to Inditex facilities, warm mentions in national speeches, small gestures of closeness. This dinner wasn't spontaneous, it was repayment of loyalty, sealed with warmth, formality, and mutual respect. And Leonor, she represents the bridge between old gratitude and new vision. For her, Ortega isn't just a donor, he's a model of self-made stability, something she's been taught to admire amid a Europe increasingly skeptical of inherited privilege. But there's more, something whispered among palace aides that night. Fact 4. The moment of disagreement between the king and Ortega. It came late into the dinner, after dessert had been served, a subtle exchange that few caught. Ortega remarked that true legacy is measured not by blood, but by contribution. The king paused. For a heartbeat, tension rippled across the table. Leonor's gaze darted between them. Then Felipe responded softly, but it's our duty to ensure contribution survives through blood. A philosophical divide, small on the surface, but symbolic beneath. It was a conversation about destiny versus design, one born into power, the other building it from the ground up. And Leonor, caught between the two worlds, found herself at the center of that storm. When the dinner ended, Ortega reportedly turned to her and said, "Your future depends on how you define service, not how others expect it." She nodded quietly, almost solemnly. That exchange, though brief, echoed the very question Spain asks itself today: can monarchy and merit ever coexist? Fact 5. What Leonor said after the dinner, and why it matters. Hours later, as the palace lights dimmed, Leonor was overheard speaking privately to her mother. A journalist near the residence caught fragments of her words through an open corridor. "He reminds me that power can be silent," she said. "And that's the kind I want to learn." Letizia didn't respond immediately, but then she smiled, the proud, restrained smile of a mother who sees her daughter stepping into her own authority. That night marked more than a dinner. It was a quiet coronation of maturity. A test, and Leonor passed it. Since then, royal aides say her tone in briefings has changed, more direct, more deliberate. The girl once guarded by scripts now writes her own words. Ortega's visit wasn't just about diplomacy, it was mentorship disguised as protocol. Yet the story doesn't end there. Because now, whispers suggest that Ortega's next move could intertwine with Leonor's reign in a way that reshapes Spain's royal image forever. He has been considering endowing a new foundation under her patronage, focused on education and entrepreneurship among Spanish youth. If true, it would make Leonor not just a ceremonial figure, but a driving force of real national renewal. And here's the beautiful contradiction at the heart of it all: a monarchy built on tradition learning humility from a man who never needed a throne. The world looks at the Spanish royal family and sees polished portraits, public smiles, rehearsed appearances. But behind those gilded walls, nights like this one unfold, moments of humanity, of mentorship, of subtle rebellion. When Leonor spoke up, she didn't just honor Ortega, she declared something larger, that her generation's crown will not rest on silence. So when you next see her at a public ceremony, standing poised beside her father, remember this dinner. Remember the quiet exchange between the billionaire and the future queen. Remember that greatness often begins in whispers, not declarations. Because sometimes, the most powerful words in a palace are the ones no one was meant to hear. And perhaps that's the true secret behind Ortega's visit: 5 facts that reveal not a dinner, but a legacy in the making. Leonor spoke up, and Spain listened.